I say this with so much love, but friend, the reason you're not achieving your goals is because you don't know who you are. But let's change that. Hello, welcome back to my channel. In my own little corner, in my own little chair, I can be whoever I want to be. I'm Kaylani. I am a hypnotherapist and life coach, and I blend my love for God with my obsession with the subconscious mind to help you create your heaven on earth and live the life of your dreams. So let's go. In my previous video, I introduced you to the Create framework, which is my 6-step manifestation process that I've used time and time again on myself and my client. And just as a refresher, Create is a 6-step framework that embodies the concept that you can co-create with God and essentially create the life of your dreams. It combines the power of spiritual discovery and subconscious reprogramming to remove any blocks that may be holding you back and create a pathway to success and ultimately living the life that you crave. This framework embodies the belief that with the right tools and with the right methods and understanding God's gifts within you, you have the power to overcome challenges, maintain unwavering faith and focus, and create your heaven on earth. So just to review, the 6 steps in Create are C for clarity, R for release, E for expand and embody, A for enlightened action, T for trust and triggers, and E for expectancy or the energy of receiving. But today, I want to go a little bit deeper into clarity, really expanding on the idea, why it's important, and also some tools and steps that you can take today to move forward and get clear on who you are, where you want to go, and what's to come in your life. So let's dive into clarity. In my previous video, I discussed that the important factors to clarity aren't so much of what you need to do or what your task list looks like or what your actual specific goals are, but I feel that the first thing is understanding who you really are. What are your current belief systems? What are your current habits? What are your core values? What do you stand by? Or what is important to you? As well as what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? I think this is important because we live in a society that is so focused on the achievements, the accolades, the titles, the accomplishments, that we lose ourselves at the expense of success. We align to things that look good or give us that shiny object syndrome. I feel that it is so important to remember who you are, to understand what you align to, and how that's going to essentially be your guiding light. Part of my process when working with my clients is to actually understand, like, after we go through, okay, what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish in life? One of the number one questions I ask is this for you? Do you want to achieve this goal because it fills you up? Or have your parents told you this is who they want you to be? Has your partner told you that this is what they like? Does it seem like the more successful thing to do? Or does it truly align to who you are? Because the whole process is that in order to create your heaven on earth, you have to align to the things that actually light you up. You have to align to who God said that you were before anybody else knew you. My goal as a life coach, as somebody who was really focused on helping people create their heaven on earth and transforming their lives essentially, is not really much about achieving the goals because the goals are just, again, the conduits. These are the tools that are going to allow you to become more of who you're supposed to be in this world. My goal as a coach is to help people actualize into the versions of themselves that God said that they would be on this earth. A lot of it is getting back to the place where you remember who God said that you are, who you belong to, and really the power and strength that is within you. Because if you know without a doubt who you are, not in the eyes of anybody else, but in the eyes of God, and you really assume that position, I promise you that you will get into a flow, into in a current of alignment that when God says that he will do exceedingly and abundantly in your life, more than you can ever imagine, he truly means that. Our goal, though, is to get back into alignment with that. So when I say that we're focused on the wrong things, we're focused more on what we should do in the world, but not who we should be. And I feel like we really truly need to get back to that space of identity. So when it comes to clarity, it's not so much getting clear on your goals. Yes, we'll get clear on your goals, but we want to make sure that one, the goals align to you, but two, that you become the person that brings these goals into your waking manifested life. We don't want them to just be dreams. We don't want them to just be goals. We want you to be the person that achieves them. And that's what we're going to talk a lot more about today. As a girl who, again, loves to blend her love for God and love for science, I really kind of wanted to deep dive into some of the biblical principles when it comes to identity, when it comes to the subconscious mind, and all these things. If we take a look at Genesis chapter 1, there's a law of God that is mentioned about 10 or so times, and that is that everything that God has created will produce after its own kind. If we look again at chapter 1 in Genesis, verse 11 and 12, it says, "And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good." So if we think about everything that God has created, that includes you and I. We also have a seed within ourselves. God has planted a seed within us in terms of who we are supposed to be in this world. When He said that you and I were going to be in the world at this moment in this lifetime, there was seed within us. The seed within us will be produced after its kind. So the question then becomes, what seed are you holding? Or more simply put, what is inside of you? What are your thoughts like? What are your beliefs like? What is your self concept? Because self concept is so important. If you do not know who you are, if you are unaligned, that is essentially going to reproduce in the world. It's important to observe, what is the seed that I'm carrying within me? What this means is that if there is seed within me, this can only produce after its own kind. So when I'm talking about seed, I'm talking about your identity. Who do you believe that you are? What do you believe that you're capable of? What do you believe that you're worthy of and not worthy of? When we say that our inner world projects our outer world, we can only produce the same seed that is within us. So in terms of our thoughts, our beliefs, our identity, if the things that we are trying to do in the world don't match with that identity. For example, if I want to be wealthy, but in my inner world, I keep telling myself, "Oh, I'm so broke. I'm so broke. I'm so broke," or "I'm bad with money. I'm bad with money." Guess what's going to continuously reproduce? Brokenness and being bad with money, not anything that has to do with wealth. So it isn't about what are all the things that I need to do to become wealthy. It's more so about, how do I adopt an identity of a wealthy person? That's the seed that's going to continuously be produced. It's not about what do I need to do. It's about who I need to become. What seed do I need to cultivate within myself in order to continuously reproduce? In Genesis 1:22, it says, "And God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply." You will be fruitful and multiply, but you will only multiply what is on the inside of you. So the question becomes, who are you? What is the seed that you're holding? And if you're not matching, like if the seed doesn't match who you want to become, that's okay, because that's where we can do the work. That's where we could reframe and we can say, oh, wait. This isn't the seed that I want to be planting in the world. This isn't the seed that I want to be reproducing and multiplying. I need to first figure out the seed. And that looks like your self concept. That looks like the identity that you have assumed. We have gone through life allowing our circumstances, our experiences, our people in our lives tell us who we are, or tell us what we are or are not capable of. And that's kind of the identity that we've assumed. But again, this is all okay. It's just observation, because once we are aware of it, now we can rewrite the story. A lot of us are walking in life with identities that we didn't really mold or craft on our own. So I'm going to give you like a little crash course in the subconscious mind, a little subconscious mind 101. If you do not know, 95% of our waking life begins in the subconscious mind. We're living in a cause and effect world. The only thing is that most of us, not all of us, I'm probably not talking to you, maybe somebody that you know, but most of us are living in the effect, and we're not taking advantage of the cause. If we go by the law of science, energy becomes matter. If energy becomes matter, that means that whatever is on the inside of you will manifest into your physical world. because again, this is just by the laws of nature, by the laws of science. I don't write the rules. The goal for you is, does your inside, does your inner world, does your self concept, does your ideas about yourself, your identity, your beliefs, do those match up with who you want to be? And are you seeing that in your physical world? Because if you're not seeing that in your physical world, that is the number one indication that there is a disconnect between your inner world and your outer world. Again, it's just about reconnecting so that all parts of you are harmonized. So our subconscious mind is set between the ages of 0 to 7. However, between the ages of 0 to 7, we had no control over what we were taught, what we were told, or what we experienced. The great thing about it, though, is that even though 7 might have been so far away for some of us, we have the ability now to get into relationship with our subconscious mind, not control it, but to be in relationship and just more in control of the things that we are actually believing, telling ourselves, the stories, the identities, everything. So here are 3 important facts about how the subconscious mind works, just to give you an idea of how you can get back in the driver's seat and be more in the cause of your subconscious versus the effect of your subconscious. So first, the subconscious mind is a storage house. It holds memories, beliefs, habits, emotions, and experiences that go beyond our conscious awareness. So everything that you have ever encountered in your life is stored in your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind also shapes perception. We are receiving millions of bits of information on a daily basis, and our mind generalizes, deletes, or distorts that information. But then we have these internal filters, and those are the subconscious biases. So, again, our beliefs, our emotions, our experiences, the information we receive is filtered through these subconscious biases, which then influences how we see or interact with the world around us. And lastly, another thing is that the subconscious mind operates on autopilot. It will take the path of least resistance. So it stores learned skills and habits to be performed more efficiently, where you don't actually think about tying your shoes. You don't actually have to remember how to tie your shoes every single time because it is on habit. And this can work in both the negative and the positive. Same way that we all have habits that are not the best habits, we can actually rewrite those habits, or we can rewrite those beliefs so that those things actually happen on autopilot or happen more automatically, or that's the focus in our lives. Learning new habits and trying to break free of old habits might be difficult, but the more we do it in repetition, I say this all the time in hypnotherapy, that with repetition and reinforcement, you are able to reprogram your mind. You are able to reprogram your habits, and then reprogramming your identity so that you can become the person that achieves the things that you are trying to call into your life. It doesn't matter if you have the strategy, if you have the step by step, if you are not actually doing it because you are not assuming the identity of somebody who does the things that they are supposed to do, it's going to be very hard for you to achieve your goals and create your heaven on earth. When we talk about quantum leaping or jumping into our next timeline, it is more so about, again, becoming the person, being a human being, not a human doing. How can you become the person that achieves these things? And then if we dig a little bit deeper into the subconscious mind and what God says about the subconscious mind, one of my favorite verses is Romans 12:2. And in Romans 12:2, it says, "Do not be conformed by the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Literally, when I hear this verse, all I can think about is when it says, "Do not be conformed by the pattern of this world." Do not let life tell you who you are. Do not let your experiences direct who you're going to be and that you have to stay within this box. You can take control of all of this. Do not listen to what the world, what your experiences, what the people in your life have told you about yourself. That's why it's so important to get into a relationship with God so that you can know, who is it that God says that you are? How do you perform that? And how do you become that in this world, in this lifetime? And do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed. Again, I am a life transformation coach. My ultimate goal is to help you transform your life. That's why when I say creating your heaven on earth, it isn't just about achieving a goal. It is about transforming your life. And it literally says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. If we break down the word renew, there were so many like great definitions that I found that I want to share. So some of the definitions that I found: renew, to begin again, to replace with a fresh supply. This is my favorite one: to restore a living thing to a vigorous and flourishing state. So what I love about all of that is that renewing of your mind doesn't mean, oh, just thinking new things or creating this new identity or this new idea about yourself. It says to begin again. To begin again means to pick something up that you left off in. Again, before you were formed in your mother's womb, God knew you. But life has conditioned you to believe that you're not capable, or to believe that you're not able, or to believe that you're not worthy or you're less deserving. And you've picked up these identities and these thoughts and beliefs subconsciously. You didn't have any control between the ages of 0 to 7. But to renew your mind means that you can begin again. So you can get back into covenant with what God said about you, who God said that you were, who He said you belong to, what He said your purpose on this earth was going to be, and everything that He was going to promise you in this life, because we all know that His promises are yes and amen. My other favorite: replace with a fresh supply. Replace with a fresh supply of thoughts, of beliefs, of identity, of the story that you're telling yourself. You can plant new seeds within you. You don't have to keep watering the same seed that you didn't even give yourself, that God didn't even give you, but that other people were watering and kind of molding to be what they wanted you to be for them. You can replace that with a fresh supply just by renewing your mind. And then lastly, restore a living thing to a vigorous or flourishing state. I love that because, one, you are a living thing. But by renewing your mind, you can restore yourself to a vigorous and flourishing state, because that was the promise and the destiny over your life. I truly believe that we are not here to live lives of mediocrity, but of greatness and abundance. And God said that He will do exceedingly and abundantly more than we can ever imagine. It's just about us getting back into that state of mind, aligning ourselves back with that promise that God had over us, which is why, again, it is so important that you sit down and you identify, what is the identity that I'm living by? Did I create this? Is this something that God and I are in, agreement with? Or is this because the world told me this was who I was supposed to be? And that's why I feel like it's so important to know your identity and to know who you are. Because again, if you are trying to fulfill goals and things in your life that don't align with who you truly are and what you were set in this world to do, you're going to often run into walls or a disconnect, or at some point, you're going to feel so unaligned with what you're doing in the world. So let's go over some steps, some things that you can do moving forward from here on out on how you can really get back in touch with your identity, how that you can redesign your identity, and how it is that you're going to be able to move forward and become the person that actualizes and achieves all of the goals and the dreams and every desire that you have in this world. First things first, in order for you to align with who God said that you are, in order to you to understand who God said that you are, what your purpose was going to be on this world and who you were going to be and all the things that you were going to do and the destiny attached to you, you have to be in relationship with God. So an important step is to take inventory of what your current spiritual temperature is. And it's not to judge you, because maybe you're like, well, I haven't really talked to God in like 5 years. That's okay. But what can we do now? If we identify where we're currently at, the whole point though is to take inventory of your spiritual temperature so that you can identify maybe where you want to implement new things. If you do not have a relationship with God, and I'm not talking about religion, but if you do not have this divine connection to God and your intuitive intuition and the power that is within you, and if you are not tapped into this source on a daily basis, it's going to be very easy for life, for the world, for people to come in and sway you to and from and sort of convince you, no, you should do this or you should be over here. But when you have direct communication with God and God is telling you, this is who you are, this is what you're destined for, you actually don't have to settle for that, because I have this planned for you. In order to get there, you have to be in communication with God. So taking inventory of your spiritual temperature, just where you are, allows you to figure out where can I implement different things in my life where I am consulting with God. So when I tell you that God is my life partner, my business partner, my strategist, in everything that I do, I consult with God first. And I wasn't always this way, but I realized a long time ago that when I align to what God has in store for me, when I say passenger princess and I say that that is all I want to be when I grow up, I will be God's passenger princess for life. Because when I tell you it's so much easier doing life in alignment with God than it is by being resistant to what He has for me, I can't. That's a whole other video in itself if I go over the testimonies of just what it means to be in alignment with God. But again, taking inventory of your spiritual temperature, your relationship with God is going to be so conducive to where you're going, especially this year and the years to come. And when we think about generations to come, we want to make sure that your kids are taken care of. So, how do we start that relationship today? How do we get in covenant with God today? And as a gift to you, in the description box, I have attached a link to a checklist. It's my spiritual inventory checklist, but just taking your spiritual temperature just to kind of see where you are. So it's just something to ask yourself these questions again to just figure out, where can I implement new habits, new routines, and really allow God to align and be in partnership with God in my current life. So definitely check the description box for a link to your free checklist. Another thing that you can do is really identifying your core values. We hear it all the time, but if you don't stand for anything, you will fall for everything. We want to make sure that you are so in tune and aligned with your core values that when opportunities come your way, jobs, people, whatever it is that you're calling in, when certain things come your way, you want to essentially filter it through, does this align with who I am as an actual person? And here are some questions that you can ask yourself as it pertains to your core values. What moments in your life have felt most meaningful and fulfilling? Imagine you have no limitations and can live your ideal life. What would that look like? If you can choose 3 words to describe your true essence, what would they be? Then I want you to design your legacy. Designing your legacy is so fun. I've actually created a free exercise for you. So if you go to, again, the description box, you will get the link and you can begin designing your legacy. So you'll be able to go over some questions, some deep reflection questions, and just really begin designing who it is that you want to be. What legacy do you want to leave behind? Again, what are you leaving for your kids and their kids and their kids? Because it is so important to understand, again, who do we want to be in this lifetime with this time that we are given? Because all of your goals will get you there. And if your goals don't align to your legacy, then maybe it's not a true, authentic goal to you. Maybe it's just something that somebody told you you should do, or somebody told you you should become, or you feel like you'll be more liked and accepted and loved if you do this thing. We want to make sure that you break free of any of those habits and you only align yourself to goals and to achievements and to steps and strategies that get you closer and closer to the person that you want to become in this world, who you want to be known for, the legacy that you want to leave behind. So again, if you go down to the description box, you will find a link to your free exercise. And I hope that it really encourages you and just inspires you to think big. Okay, friend, just to recap, if I can leave you with anything today, it's that you, again, you are so deserving. This life that you crave and that you desire is there for a reason because that is the seed that is within you. It's just about getting back to that seed and nurturing that seed and not the seed that life and that others and your experiences have planted within you. You are called. You were set apart and placed on this earth at this moment in this lifetime for a purpose and for a reason. Your existence is purposeful. And when you get back aligned with who God said that you are, when you remember who you've actually belonged to, and you remember the strength and the power that is within you and what you have access to tap into every day, I am so excited to see everything that you will become. My hope is that by pouring into you, that you will become everything that you are supposed to be because the people that are tied to your destiny are waiting. They're waiting for you to bloom. They're waiting for you to appear. They're waiting for you to show up and allow yourself to be seen. So please go be everything that God called you to be. We're waiting for you. And if you would like more of this kind of content, please remember to like, subscribe, share with anybody who just needs to hear this word. And if there's anything that you want to talk about specifically, so if there's any topics or subject or different areas in your life that you just want me to touch on, please let me know, comment. I am here to just co-create a space that we all can love and benefit from. And again, this is kingdom business. So I'm here to support you in any way that I can. Thank you, friend.